year, but it rose every year for the past 5 years. With Twitter, it was almost like he was frozen as a CEO because he was afraid to make any changes. That product, it has barely changed in 16 years. If you look at the early days of Twitter and Twitter today, it looks exactly the same. If you look at Facebook in the beginning and today, it's a completely different company. But Twitter has not been that. And so I just don't think that he was the right person to necessarily lead Twitter. But I think he has become a pretty adept CEO when it comes to Square. And it's very apparent that he is very strategic in the boardroom, and that he was able to stave off being pushed out for this long. I think definitely said something.
Well, and to your point about Square, I think if you go by market cap, it's something like 2 or 3 times more valuable than Twitter is even. So is it possible, Nick, that he just developed other interests or things that he wants to spend more time on, be it Square, be it cryptocurrency, or perhaps just devoting time to a personal life that sometimes can get forgotten about when you're in the startup phase?
He's all over the world, hanging out with Jay-Z and Beyonce and people like that these days. He's definitely hit that level of CEO. I don't think it's that. I think that I think Twitter is a very difficult company to run, and I think you definitely need a specific mindset to do it. And I think Jack always thought that you had to be a founder to do it. And I actually think that it's a rare company where you don't, where I think you need to come in with new ideas. I think one of the things that I found really fascinating about his resignation letter was that it was almost as if he was bragging that, he said, after almost 16 years of having a role at the company, from co-founder to CEO to chair to exec chair to interim CEO to CEO, it's finally time for me to leave. That to me is like, if you've been there that long and the company's in the state it's in, it's clearly your fault. It's not anyone else's fault. And I think that the fact that he wasn't able to see that, even now when he's not necessarily leaving on his own accord, I think it's pretty telling about the state of Twitter and his role in it.
Well, let's dig in then a little bit to the state of Twitter, because one of the things that he and a lot of social media executives, for that matter, have struggled with in recent years is moderation, particularly as it related to the former president, Donald Trump. I mean, he initially started flagging Trump's tweets as misinformation, eventually banning him from the platform. How do you think Jack Dorsey felt about the direction Twitter was heading?
I don't think he felt anything about it. I think he's said in internal meetings over the last couple of years, the last 5 years, during the Trump era, he's always said that Twitter is just a mirror to society, and this is just what people are like. And I actually think that's a complete cop-out. I think that, one of the problems with social media in general, not just Twitter, but the whole ecosystem, is that it lacks this ability to portray empathy. And as a result, people don't realize when they hurt your feelings on social media because they don't see it. They don't see how you react. They don't get those nuances of being in front of someone. And I think that with Jack, I think that he was frozen and unable to make any changes because the platform has so much control over the company.